I can't believe you let him play the record.
Darn you, Harold!
Yeah.
What's it? What is it that he screams in A Christmas Story? Dang down and blah, or something like that. And I'm like, I love that forever.
Absolutely. I do too.
Or like when he's down there fighting with the furnace, and they talk about he's creating a whole stream of invective that is, as far as we know, still circulating Lake Michigan. And I'm like, okay, wasn't that like all our fathers?
Yeah. And what was cool about that was he was always like, like when he would get, it was like this cool mumble.
Oh right, yeah.
It was like, what is he actually saying? But
Darren McGavin was perfect. He was perfectly cast for that.
I thought so as well.
I mean, golly, that's got to be one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
Not that I always go for the G rating, but sometimes you just need comfort food.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm not a big Christmas guy to begin with, like the whole, Christmas movie thing, but I have like a couple that are like my favorites, and that's definitely one of them. If I have to watch Christmas movies, that's my number one for sure.
Well, yeah, I keep making the joke like so many of us. Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Absolutely, yeah. I actually have a Christmas ornament.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, with him in the shaft.
Oh, that's awesome. And two. Boom, boom, boom. I love when things work simply.
You're listening to WUDR, Dayton, Ohio, 99.5.
So falls like rain, and then we'll just come in right after that. For those of you watching online, hello. This is Howard Hensley,
Yes.
part of Witness Protection.
That's me.
I love this tune, by the way, man.
Oh, thank you. It kind of just like fell together. Like we were just trying to do something, not as fast and like a little bit more country on the record.
Yeah.
Those lyrics just like came right out.
Oh,
what I mean?
really?
It was,
Really?
It was great. Like it was like she just falls like rain, and Max just looked at me like, I want to write that down. He's like, he thinks I'm like the worst waitress ever. He's like, you might want to write that down. Every time.
Well, I'll be honest, if Tracy gives me anything more than 3 things to remember, if I don't write it down, it's lost because all the other crap that's swimming in my head.
I get it. If I don't make lists every morning,
right? Oh yeah.
I'm just it's bad news. Yeah.
Well, very kind of you to wear the mask.
Oh.
I appreciate it. If ever there's a moment when you take a drink of water or something like that, of course. Because I'm saying that because I'm about to take a drink.
I held my breath a second ago, so that was.
Oh yeah. Do you have enough oxygen in there?
I do. Yeah. I can't make you wear a mask and me not wear one.
I mean, very kind of you to suffer along with me, but
like at the record store, they're asking people to wear masks again.
Oh,
we don't,
yeah.
like skeleton dust, and I'm totally cool with that. Like if I'm gonna go in there and like dig through your records, and I want to protect,
Oh right.
Who knows, So.
I mean, and that's the thing that's lost in the discussion and the confusion.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily wearing it for yourself, right? You're protecting others. You're protecting people in the community.
Absolutely.
I even got a letter from my doctor when all this mess happened. Gee, feels like that was a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
It does.
And he's like, well, Art, you've got a lung issue. When I was really young, I had really serious bronchitis that almost took my life. And so I've always had an issue with one of my lungs here. And he's like, well, this is a serious issue for you because you just don't get a cold.
Right.
It lingers and it becomes serious. And so he wrote a letter, and I'm looking at the letter before I take it into work. I'm like, damn.
Right.
Does this get me out of stuff? It did not. It did not get me out of any work. So it's really not a good letter from a doctor.
It's like, do I get to ride a motorcycle from class to the studio? Like, is this like?
Wouldn't that be great, right?
Awesome, yeah. A little mini bike just for Dr. J.
Yeah. No, mostly it was just like so I could work at home, which didn't matter because we all ended up working it out.
Right. Yeah.
But I appreciated his concern for my well-being.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do, you know? Like, they're supposed to try to help you stay alive, you know? That's what doctors do. Last time I checked.
Well, that seems like a fair assumption, Harold.
Yeah.
I think that's okay as far as where I'm sitting.
This is gonna be fun, I can already tell.
Yeah, I should have warned you. I did have a lot of caffeine this morning.
Ooh.
This could be rough for you, man.
I didn't have my normal amount, and I quit smoking 2 days.
Oh,
now,
really?
48 hours in, so I might be a jerk. Just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know.
I hear you.
All right.
The repeating arms here on your Tuesday afternoon. The repeating arms here on your Tuesday afternoon alternative. It helps to push that button. It is always a good thing. How you doing, everybody? Dr. J here for YTAA. That song that you just heard is one of the great tracks from the new record that comes out in mere days, Higher Than Lonesome, from Dayton's own The Repeating Arms. The good friends that we have at Magnaphone Records are helping to put that out. That was Falls Like Rain, which is the latest single to come out from that record. Earlier in the program, you heard The Glow. So just in case you're wondering, this is still your Tuesday afternoon alternative. I believe I am still Dr. J. I feel the same. I am overjoyed to have here in the studio Mr. Harold Hensley, the golden voice of Dayton Roots music. How you doing, Harold?
Good. How you doing?
I am all right. I'm doing good.
It's good to be here.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day.
I mean, I was just like working in the garden, so it wasn't super busy. But you're looking at me like.
Oh, I relate. I relate to that.
But no, you're welcome. I always have a great time when we come in. We have great conversations. So I was excited to get to come into the studio, like after the world, shut down for so long. So yeah, thanks for having me back.
Well, and we really appreciate you being here. I should tell people that if we sound in any way odd, the regulations of the university just changed literally about 24 hours ago. So we're now required to wear masks in the tiny little space we have here. So if we sound a little awkward, please forgive us. We're not trying to sound, I don't know, cooler or hipper or sexier than we really are.
I think we sound cooler.
Oh, did we sound
We
cooler?
sound cooler with these on.
I should have been doing this for years then. Why didn't anybody say something to me?
I don't know. It's like a new thing. Like everyone has radio voice when they have their mask on. It's great.
Well, and you have a terrific voice anyway. But for anybody who doesn't know, could you take us through how the Repeating Arms got together?
Yeah. So we've almost been together 10 years now. Like it's 9 and some change. 9 years and some change. But so Max Nunnery and I had actually talked 15 years ago probably, or 12 or 13 I would say, about booking, when I lived in Lexington, Kentucky, about booking our bands together. Which he was in Tu Buku at that time, and I was in a band called the Shark Militia. But anyway, when I finally made it back home, I moved back to Dayton, and a friend of a friend, Ira, which used to be our drummer, when the Arms started, he was like, you should come over, we're going to jam, and it's going to be a good time. And so when I first met Max, he was playing mandolin, like ran through a million effects. I was playing drums. It was just a really weird meeting, like first time to ever play music. And then we became roommates later on, and we started the Arms as a folk dance outfit. Which never really,
I love that. I love that.
It just never really worked out the way that we wanted. We used to have like beat machines and like loops and things going on, and we were trying to put folk on top of that. We were trying to do something different. And Max had never played a banjo until he picked up the like crappy banjo that I had, and he was like, I kind of like this, and learned to, or he taught himself how to play the banjo. So that's basically how we started, and we put an ad on Craigslist and got Chip Pritchard, who is I think he's the one that grounded us back down maybe a little bit to this. You've got some good songs here. They're kind of grassy, but they're not grassy. So I think that's pretty much how we started. And when we started playing with Brian Spurk, and on mandolin, and he took us a little bit further into the grass realm too, I would say. And it's just been a great time. Like, cause I like bluegrass to an extent, but it's not really my thing. It gets a little high and tinny after you listen for a while. So all my friends, like from back in the day, like high school, when I was in these punk bands and rock bands and stuff, like they come out to shows now and they're like, you have a banjo in your band. So it's quite different than anything I've done, but I dig it. It's fun. It's a great outlet.
And now this upcoming record, this is the latest album. In a while, I'm trying to think, was the last record the split with the New Old Fashioned?
Yes. Yep.
So Hilltops and Highways.
Yep.
This is the most recent record since then. And you're working with the Wizard, right? Mr. Harold Hensley
The other big
is
wizard.
working with you're at Real Love Studios. You're doing all that. So tell me about working with the Wizard.
So it was so great to get to do this record with Patrick. We had talked about it. I mean, we've been trying to put this record out for a few years. Like, it's kind of like a tour record, you know, like it takes a decade to put it out. And we talked to him a couple times, and we'd done some home recordings, and we weren't getting the sound that we were trying to do demos and all of this, and then we just booked some time so that it would like light a fire under us, you know. And that was right around the time that the flood happened at the studio. Like,
Oh, I remember that.
so our 3 days of recording turned into 2, and it was I know this sounds might not sound great, but it was kind of a blessing for us as a string band because everything was out of the studio. Like all of the instruments, it was just like flat walls and flat floors, and we spread out really far in there and did the whole record live in like 2 nights. Like the only thing that we had to, like, I did my vocal live and all that, the only thing we had to go back and track was the harmony vocals, just because when you try to cut those live, it gets a little weird. Creates this halo that sounds kind of different. I dig it, but we just wanted to make sure it was audible. And Patrick just knows how to get that take out of you. You know what I mean? He knows, like, which, you know, I felt like we were really rehearsed going in, and there were a couple times at the end of the sessions where he would just, you can't see, well, you can see me on here, he would lean out of the control room and just look at you like, who are you? Because like when you're singing.
Well,
singing
Patrick
there,
has that
right?
look too.
Yeah.
It's almost like a dad look.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And he, you know, I knew my voice was cooked at the end of the second session, and like he knew it. He was like, "Who are you? Like, where did your voice go?" You know, because like I was singing with everything I had, you know, trying to get the best take on this stuff, and so him being able to say, "Let's try it again," or "That's it," you know, that's the take, or whatever. Like that's what we needed. You know, we needed like direction in there, because it's real easy for us 5 guys just to go off on some other tangent and not get anything done. So yeah, but it was a great experience. Great experience.
So that's interesting. The actual challenge around the flooding that happened in and around the studio actually helped you be more productive?
I think so, because that first session, that first night, which everyone from the Dayton music scene, it was such a beautiful day, because we were all there, we loaded all the gear. I don't think he lost any gear, which was amazing. We loaded everything into, I think you were there helping too.
I was there one of those days, yeah.
Yeah, we loaded everything into like a big box truck, and we took a lot of the keyboards and tapes, you know, and those things can't get wet. Like even moisture can ruin that stuff. So we were moving it everywhere. Like he has, you know, just tons of equipment. But I think the reason it made us more productive, or not necessarily productive, but it was we just had this open room. So with string instruments, you really want those to ring out, and we had just enough bleed, if that makes sense. Like those older recordings that you hear, like, you know, from back in the 50s and 60s, they had a little bit of bleed that created halo like I was talking about a minute ago, but not that crazy halo that you can't control. So I really do believe that everything being out of there gave this record a specific sound that we might not ever be able to capture again. So, but it did make us more productive too, because we were like, okay, well, we only have 2 nights to get this going. So we went and just really played our hearts out. So it was fun.
And we call Patrick Himes the Wizard because of just this almost magical ability he has to pull like the best performance out of someone, or the best vocal, or whatever the particular thing is that they're doing. He seems really gifted at just helping you be the best at that you can be in that moment.
Yes.
And that's a rare gift, I think.
Oh, and he looks like a wizard.
Well, that helps, right? That helps sell the idea. That helps sell the label.
Right. I totally agree. Like he just, and when I did my solo record with him, Midnight Savings Time, like he was able to be like, he knew when I wasn't feeling a certain track or whatever, and we could go to something else. Like he would be like, let's try something else, or let's try this piano part. Let's come back to this, like, because it's real easy to get despondent when you have all these things going on. It's real easy to be like, okay, well, I'm not gonna get this track today or whatever. So he's real good about navigating like unsure waters. It's always like he makes it comfortable to go to the studio, but it's always kind of an anxious thing for me. Like you want to do your best, and it's like, is my voice here today? Like, am I gonna play this correctly? What key was this in? You have all these notes everywhere. But he's really good at driving the boat, for sure. Yeah.
Well, so the album's called Higher Than Lonesome. Comes out August 13th on Magnaphone Records. Yes. There is the show at the Yellow Cab Tavern with you and the Buffalo Wops and Price Hill Hustle.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a great double bill. It'll be a great night of music. Higher Than Lonesome. First of all, that's super. It's cool. It's evocative. I mean, what are your thoughts about that? How did you guys come up with that as a title? And then could you tell us a little bit about working on the song?
Yeah. So Higher Than Lonesome is the title track. There's a song on there called Higher Than Lonesome, and if you're familiar with like bluegrass or even like roots music or old country, they had this like high lonesome sound. Hilo Brown is one of my favorite people that sing that type of stuff, but it kind of was a play on words, and to me, Max has his own version of this too, but to me it was like because there's a lot of heartbreak and like love and loss, like throughout and also like talking about like just enjoying every moment, like we don't know what tomorrow brings. And I just really think that after the last year and a half that we've had really rings true for me. But just like the song Down, like life's gonna let you down, but just don't let it. Like you can turn things around. But so the whole High and Lonesome thing was to me it was like with all the loss and stuff and sorrow of the record, it kind of made it easier to process for me. Yeah. Like if there was like a little bit of a joke in there somewhere, and obviously there's the other, Higher Than Lonesome. Like there's like a scale there, and that's kind of how the album artwork came to play. When I was working on that, like the guy on the high wire, it's like the balance. You got to find the balance in everything, or it's just gonna fall over, So I think that's what the main theme with the record is, just like the balance between everything,
If you're just joining us, you're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative on WUDR Dayton. Rockin' the Gem City, music in all directions. Support your local music scene. We're really excited. Today we have Harold Hensley of the Repeating Arms, as well as a pretty darn good solo career. If you're thinking, is that the guy who you're constantly talking about, you love the sound of his voice? It is. That is that guy.
That's me.
But you definitely need to hear this. This is one of those fine tracks from Higher Than Lonesome. Higher Than Lonesome.
Shoot.
Yeah, it's a good record. It's a
Thank
really
you.
good record.
Thank you so much. We put a lot into it. It should be like we played these songs out live for a while.
Did you play any of it the last time you guys played Leve? Did you play a couple of
We
them?
played a few of these.
Yeah.
We
I
didn't-
thought so. I mean, we were there and you know, God willing, you never know anymore. Knock on wood.
Yes.
Tracy and I'll be at the show in September again.
Awesome.
We're not sure about the 13th yet. Stuff, right?
Totally,
But
So much going on.
oh, seriously. but at the same time, it seems to me like there's been, I hate the word evolution and growth and progression, but it seems like the band itself, just listening to this as opposed to like some of the tracks, is it like Honey on Hilltops and Highways? It almost seems like the band is more centered.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if calmer is the right word. Please tell me if that's wrong.
No, I like where you're going with that for sure. I mean, because that's I think every band is always going to be looking for like direction. Like
Sure.
you know, you can write and collaborate and do like you can only do so much with what you have until it turns into this other thing. you know?
Right.
And I really think because John was just starting to play with us, during that stuff. He wasn't on the first record on Blackberry Winter. So when we started playing a lot of these songs, that's why we brought out like Digging Graves it's a song from our very first EP, like the early Drive EP, when we still had no clue what we were doing,
Oh wow.
And then we brought that one back, and then The Glow is actually a single from a while ago. But we were playing these songs live with John, and we're just like, this isn't the same song.
Yeah.
We need to re-record this with the new. It's got a new lease on life, So we really wanted to do a couple of those older tunes, and like some of the stuff. What is the song on there? I can't think of the title right now.
Here's most of them.
House of Bless, yeah, House of Bless. That tune was something that I was going to put on a solo record, and
Oh really?
we were in the studio, and they were like, I thought we had don't we have a couple more songs? I'm like, well, I have this one, and what was cool about the lineup now is we did that on the fly, and it's one of my favorite songs off the record.
Oh really? Really?
Like,
And
I
you did it
played
on the fly?
Yes.
Oh
Yeah.
jeez
Like
Louise.
John came up with that beautiful intro,
Yeah.
We're getting really good at knowing each other's dynamics.
Oh sure.
When we need to play quiet, play quiet. When we need to play loud, we play loud. It's when we can feel when it's going there. Like sometimes, I hope no one hears this. They're gonna hear it anyway. But like, sometimes we have to play really long sets.
Yeah.
The type of music I guess where you play really long sets, and sometimes we jam the songs out a little bit more. And I'm not that musician. Like I have to practice how it's gonna be played. So
Right.
I'm getting better at feeling where the songs go and all of that stuff. So
Well, it almost sounds like there's a greater awareness of other people in the band.
yes,
Like you're not talking about like your own growth or your own development or whatever we want to call it, right?
absolutely.
But like
Yeah.
growing awareness of what other people are doing or what they can do.
Yeah.
I know. Several times I have seen you play more than a few times, and I've noticed that there's a lot of camaraderie, right? There just seems to be a lot of love on stage. Whether the stage is really small, like
Right.
like trolley,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of space, or whether you're at 11,
We're
they just
bumping
seem,
into each other.
yeah. But it's never something like, oh, I can't be next to you.
Right. Yeah. It's like stand next to him again. Like.
Yeah. Oh gosh, darn it.
And honestly, that was I feel like we're starting to move more methodically, like through these songs and like through the arrangements and like really flushing the stuff out.
Yeah.
Flushing it out. Like not just okay, here's the song, this is the way it's arranged. Like first chorus. Like we're going for like the bigger bridges and stuff like that, and trying to make these turnarounds be more interesting, and like we played our first show at the Bright Side, like our first show back after like post-pandemic.
Right.
I was super scared about the whole situation. Like I was like, man, did we get enough rehearsal? Like we're opening for like a national act. Like this room's almost sold out. Thursday night, and it was so weird. As soon as we got like on the stage, like I had this like all of my like butterflies or moths. I say moths in my stomach. They, like, went away, and it could have been the booze. I'm just kidding. But could have been the free booze. No, but it just felt like, okay, I've done this before. It's not a big deal. Like, out, and we just like carried each other. It was such a great experience, and like Cynthia and that we opened for, they had all of their gear on stage, so we had to. Right. We're on this big stage, this beautiful room, but we like had to scrunch in together, and so it felt like being back at Trolley or something.
Right. Which I've seen some of my favorite shows in little tiny rooms like that. I mean, no disrespect to Trolley or OE or Bob's or any of these places that maybe they have a smaller stage, or maybe the room isn't exclusively for music.
Yeah.
But yet you can have like a life-changing musical moment, a really wonderful experience.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Gosh, I remember when Tracy and I first started going to shows, we were going to the OE. Right? Yeah. That's a wee stage. That is a little bitty stage.
It really is. I miss playing and going there all the time.
But it's also there's also something magic about we're all here in this room and we all care about what we're doing. We all care about the music.
Absolutely.
Not to be again. Different venues have different vibes and energies.
Right.
But it's one of the interesting things about Dayton is that I can see a great show at a pizza place like South Park Tavern.
Right.
I can see a great show at a bar like Bob's. I can see a great show to places that are more established, specifically set up for the music like Bright Side or Yellow Cab. And I can have a life-changing musical experience at any of these places in town.
Yeah.
And I tell people that and they're like, oh no, not really, and I'm like, yeah.
And you can hear any genre, anything you're into.
Yeah.
We have it here. I mean,
isn't that nuts?
The hip hop.
It's such a wonderful thing.
The hip hop is great. Like the jangly rock, the prog rock, the metal. It's all here, man. Like, and it kills me that I see people like, what are you guys doing tonight? Anything going on? It's like, yeah, everything's going on. Like.
Yeah, the choice is not whether to go to a show. The choice is often, I gotta flip a coin because.
Yes. Which two shows?
Exactly. Yeah.
Like.
So like if it's something like Trolley or Bob's and Yellow Cab, that's at least running distance.
Right. Absolutely.
But if you got something where your Cab and Bright Side's that gets trickier.
It does.
That gets. But also, what a wonderful problem to have.
Yeah, I mean that's the main thing. Like just things being open and people playing, like it's just amazing.
Oh God, I missed it so much.
Me too.
Oh, I missed it so much.
I could have waited too much longer, like for sure.
Repeating Arms here on your Tuesday afternoon alternative. I hope we have your attention. There's some great music there. You heard Higher Than Lonesome. You heard Be My Heart from the album Higher Than Lonesome. I am joined here in the studio with my good friend Harold Hensley, the golden voice of Dayton Roots music. He plays in the Repeating Arms. He's a major force in the Repeating Arms. He has a terrific solo record, Midnight Savings Time, which I loved. And even though I know Pose is a little different than the other songs on the record, like Building a Boat, for example, is very different than Pose.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I also think that whether we're looking at your solo record or we're looking at Higher Than Lonesome, there's a core musicality to what you make.
Yeah.
Do you see it that way?
I do, I really do. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Like there's a lot of like my favorite musicians out there, like that do do a solo project, and you can still tell that it's them. You know, like Doug Marsh, for instance, like his solo record from I think 2009 was amazing, but it's still got that built to spill, you know, feel to it. You know, but it's like it's kind of cool now to be writing for 3 different projects, because that keeps you going. That keeps your head, you know, churning out stuff, like the gears going, you know, and like sometimes I don't know, like I was talking to earlier, you know, when we were off air or whatever, like talking about the song that we went for in the studio, you know, like House of Lies was gonna be a solo record, or a song from a solo record, and as soon as I heard the intro with John's fiddle, I was just like, well, this is an arms tune, you know, and I like that it can, you know, span different projects and stuff, you know. I usually know if it's a Biscuits and Gravy song because it's kind of funny. It's either really funny or really sad, and I'm like, that's gonna be a Biscuits and Gravy song.
So the emotional quality of the song lends to, whether it's on the solo record, or whether it's with Cassie and Biscuits and Gravy, or whether it's Repeating Arms.
Yes, that's usually how it goes. It's like, well, that's really funny, or that's really sad, or that's a murder ballad, so that's gonna go on this record. I don't know. It's fun. Like, it's just a fun time.
Well, and that's really cool though, that you almost have a sense of it right away. Okay, this is a song, you know, that I'm gonna do. This is a song the band's gonna do. This is a song the duo's gonna do.
Yeah.
And just take a second, since we're talking about Biscuits and Gravy. Much love to our friend Cassie right now.
Absolutely.
But that's interesting. I mean, that's got to be cool as a songwriter, that you get to write for 3 very different kinds of projects.
Yes. It's so amazing. Like I think that's what kept me, you know, rolling through the quarantine and the pandemic and all of that. Like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna come out on the other side with a bunch of songs so I can like take a break, because I just got really really inspired. Like, I guess like the world being on fire and all of these different things just made me think about things in a different way. But it is super cool to be like, okay, well, and sometimes I don't, like I sit down and I don't know. I'm gonna start strumming or like playing like a guitar lick or something, and then just kind of, this kind of seems armsy, or you know, whatever. But like usually two bars in, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a arms tune or B&G or whatever, you know. Oh, and I did talk to Cassie. We FaceTimed this morning, and she was doing well.
Oh, very good, very good.
I thought she'd put makeup on because her lips were kind of orangish red, but it was because she had a popsicle, and she was super happy about it. maybe a little high on Dilaudid, but she's doing
it's
well.
the little things,
Yes,
man.
the little
it's
things.
the little things.
Absolutely, yes.
You know, now, you know, I wasn't even thinking popsicles, but now that you mention it, I totally want one.
Me too. Like, I might have to. She said I didn't want one of these pop. It was like the dye contrast.
Yeah.
She's like, but it was cold.
Well, there's putting a positive spin on it.
Yes. Yeah. I was like, I definitely don't want one of those popsicles. But
Well, I'm glad to hear she's doing all right.
Yeah.
But that's really neat that you get the opportunity to do that, which I think also speaks to what we were talking about earlier, you know, off air. What a great, vibrant city this is for music.
Yes.
That there's room for you to pursue, you know, a solo project or a record on your own. There's room to be in a duo. There's room to be in the band.
Yeah.
Does it ever get confusing?
It does. It does, and sometimes it's
Because that's
really,
more than I can keep straight.
Yeah. It does get confusing, and you know, sometimes it's hard to navigate the booking side of it too. You know, but I'm kind of like, right before all of the stuff happened, like I was getting the hang of the booking. I'd done some touring and went to California and stuff like that. So this thing is getting wild again. Like, everybody like is calling about booking and all that. So I just had to say, okay, well, the Arms are gonna play like festival like season, because that's, you know, John plays in the DPO.
Right.
So he doesn't have a lot of availability in the fall or winter. So it's like, okay, well, that's when we can do this, the whole band thing, spring and summer. And Cassie and I are trying to get some well, we want to get the record done first. We've been dragging our feet on that. All the songs are there, but so we want to try to get that done and stuff and get the record out. But we're going to start doing some road stuff as well.
Oh, good.
And so and I have a new solo record that's David Payne has been producing it. I recorded it at home during everyone had a pandemic record, and I think that's great. And so I recorded it, the first time I've recorded myself probably like in a serious manner, like I would say since the 90s maybe, with a 4-track. So the booking, it does get confusing, trying to book all the different things, but I think I'm getting back in the swing of it, like getting back to work, so that's good.
Well, I could see where having 3 different projects like that could be could easily get confusing, but it sounds to me like you've got a real clear sense in your mind, the division of time as well as what you're doing with each particular project, which I think you'd really have to keep that straight in your own mind.
Yes, you really do. You really do. I mean, and sometimes it just happens like a venue will, from out of town or whatever, will want to book the arms, and then like you tell them the price range, but maybe that's like out of their budget or or whatever. So it's always like, well, I also play in this duo, and also can play solo. So if these things interest you as well, like, so I feel like a telemarketer sometimes when I'm booking out of town shows. Like if I don't know the people, I always have to do the rebuttal. I used to be a telemarketer years ago. I hope no one gets mad at me over that, but I just like sold like DVDs. It wasn't like trying to get your
Well, direct all your angry phone calls to I was gonna pull up the whole pseudonym that we created earlier.
Yes.
Don't call Harold Hensley.
Right.
Call Howard Mensley.
Yeah, that's me.
He's the guy. He's the guy you want to complain to.
With this relocation program. Yes.
Yeah, really all you need now are the glasses and the look is complete.
Absolutely.
For those of you who can't see it in the studio, of course, Harold is a handsome man. I can't speak about Howard Mensley. I don't really know him very well, but
I think you're handsome too.
I feel better now. Thank you. Feel really good about myself. No. In all seriousness, we are so happy to have Howard Hensley of the Repeating Arms, Biscuits and Gravy, and really, if you don't know his solo record, Midnight Savings Time, I can't recommend it enough. I mean, just for me, it's worth the price of admission with just a couple songs, but that's a jam-packed record.
Thank you.
That's a really good record. I'm curious as you're looking to the Biscuits and Gravy stuff, and I love how you pointed out there's you and Cassie are very humorous with each other,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of jokes, good and bad, flying all over the stage.
Yes.
Fair amount of almost dad-like humor, which I appreciate. But I'm curious if you see that as a kind of essential character to the duo as opposed to like the Repeating Arms.
I absolutely do. Like her and I have known each other so long, and she always points out how old that I am and that I'm older than her when we're telling the story live. But it's always been like since just like a lifelong friend. The very first few times we hung out, she was like kind of quiet, and I was kind of quiet. We were like, I think, it was high school. We went to different high schools, but she lived right down the street. And so as soon as we kind of figured out each other's humor, it has never stopped. Like it's just even like friends. Like I lived out of town for a while, and like we'd run into each other. I'd be visiting and like run into each other at a club or a bar, and it was just like we never lost a beat. And our kids actually make fun of us because we talk like hillbillies. As soon as she gets on the phone with me or vice versa, they're like, "You're talking to Harold, aren't you?" And we just like, I don't know why we do that. It's just we always talk like hillbillies. It's fun. I think we do it on stage sometimes too, and don't even know it. So it's a good time.
Well, I love how you can crack each other up with a look.
Yes,
I mean,
I love that too.
That's beautiful to me, right? That's like real friendship.
Yes.
You actually care about each other, and you know each other so well that you can crack each other up with a look, right? And most of us, when we think of the look, we're really thinking about what parents getting mad at us.
Right.
But you guys just have this natural laughter and this real easy chemistry. It must be great to be in a musical project with someone that you know that well.
Absolutely. I mean, all of the like road shows and stuff that we've done, like traveling, doing a little bit of traveling, it's been so much fun. Just because we are like that all the time. Like behind the scenes, we're not like all serious. I mean, we do get serious when we're writing and rehearsing and stuff like that. But at the same time, there's always like joke break time in the middle. It's fun. It's funny that you said that about the looks, because sometimes I ramble. I don't know. I might be rambling right now. But anyway, sometimes I ramble on stage when I'm tuning. That's the problem. And I'll look at her like, tell a story or something, But sometimes when I'm telling the story, she has to give that look, and it is like a mom look, like, shut up. Like, why are you still talking about this? Your guitar's tuned, let's play the song. So, yeah, it's very, very cool to get to play music with I mean, at least, we've been friends at least 20 years. Like, maybe 25, I don't know. It's been a while.
Man, that's longer than most relationships last.
Absolutely.
So we have Harold Hensley of the Repeating Arms here in the studio. They're releasing a terrific new record. Now, it's cruel, but I'm going to say it. I can say it's terrific because I've been listening to it since Harold shared it with me. Higher Than Lonesome. It's being released by our good friends in Magnaphone Records. August 13th, it's the release show at the Yellow Cab Tavern with Buffalo Wobbs and the Price Hill Hustle, which would be a great show. I believe it's one of those Level Up productions. Check out their website for more information on tickets. But in case you're wondering, how good will this show be? Let's give you a taste. We were just talking about House of Lies. Here is, from the Repeating Arms' latest record, Higher Than Lonesome, House of Lies, on your Tuesday afternoon alternative on WUDR Dayton. You're such a good interview.
I hope
you're doing awesome.
Do you have a button that says ramble? Like you're
Well,
rambling?
see, that makes for better radio than it does for musical performance. The only time I've had a terrible time with an interview is when people give like one-word answers.
Right.
Like, yeah, no. Oh, why is that? And I remember, I swear by all that is holy, we were talking about a song, I think it was their single, and I asked, well, okay, so tell us about recording the single. And I think the answer was, well, we went into the studio and we played it. Oh, okay, what was that like? And then the answer was, yeah, I don't remember.
It's been so long ago.
But in all fairness,
we drank the potion right before, so we don't remember. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, by the time we hear it, it's brand new to us.
Right.
You've lived with it for years, right?
Absolutely.
And like you've probably written 2 or 3, albums worth of songs by the time where we get out here to talk about it. But it didn't make for very scintillating radio.
Right.
And the funny thing is like it wasn't even a Dayton. It was somebody from further afield, right? From not even in the state of Ohio.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I always tell people, as long as you don't give one-word answers.
Right. Yeah. Now that you've brought that up, when the next question you ask me, I want to be like,
yeah, but
no, yes.
Well, then I'll just start laughing, and then it'll be a bonding moment. We'll feel closer.
It'll be amazing.
We'll laugh. We'll cry.
Yeah. Oh man.
But no. Rambling is exactly what you want to do here. And you're really good at telling a story. You don't think you're good at telling a story?
Oh, I think I'm up there with the guy from Big Fish, I think. But like not everyone wants to hear that when they come to a show, And like Cassie's like, we need to play these songs, and I'm just like, I bet she's watching. I bet she is because she had her phone. If you're out there, she's probably giving me the look right now.
Yeah, a lot of people saying hello. Hi, Amber. Hi, Patsy. Well, you know Patsy.
Patsy who? I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Technical issues.
I'm gonna put the glasses back on.
Hey, Kurt. Oh, thank you. Kurt Lee Wheeler says hi. Katie Mullen says hi.
Hey.
Yeah, oh, I love all 3 projects too, Katie. This man can do no wrong. Or should we really give him that much? I mean, he's going to now come out with like some kind of weird, Grover voice death metal thing.
I've got to try to walk out of the door too. Like my head's going to be swollen,
Well, see,
Thank
that's
you
where
for that.
that's where we should have someone come in and insult us both, so we feel appropriate about ourselves.
Yes. Or at least some of that spray butter, so you can push me out, push me out the door.
But no, I agree with Katie though. I mean, because they're really different. The solo record was really different than what the Arms do, and then, gosh, I have to admit that Tracy and I made a point of going to several Biscuits and Gravy shows, just because we're like, well, this is going to be fun, and we know the music's going to be good, but it's going to be fun just to watch them.
Yeah.
You guys have
Yes.
such a great back and forth.
We that's something that we've been like working on, like during rehearsal too, like
Yeah.
trying to work out because that's the acts back back in the day that traveled. That was part of the show was
Was the humor.
comedy and
Yeah.
all of that, and so we do have some really sad tunes on there, but still. Hi, I'm Harold Hensley. You were listening to Tuesday Afternoon Alternative on Dayton. I forgot I did that.
Oh no, I see. But you did it brilliantly.
Oh, I remember that day. I do remember now.
You
being
just
like,
knocked it out.
I
I think
have to
you
do my best radio voice.
you did very well.
I think I was trying to get you to turn the bass up. I'm like, can you turn that?
I think
Turn the
I
lows
made a
up on
couple
that?
of my. Did we do like one? That's like the second take though. I mean, trust me when I say that I have situations where they took more than 2.
Bet.
But God, when I do it at home, when you're doing something like that, it's sort of like your brain forgets to tell your voice what to do.
Right.
Wait, what?
Dude, let's be honest, too. The call letters are a little.
They're
You can get tongue tied really easy when I'm trying to tell folks like, listen on
Yeah.
No, let me try again. Yeah. So.
Well,
it's
it
amazing
can
how you
easily
got it
come out as worder.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. If, Tracy came up with the name, and I still think it's a brilliant name, but I get excited.
Yeah.
And to say your Tuesday afternoon alternative and not start stringing it together.
Yeah.
Woo! Or occasionally I still will hear my stutter come back, or
Yes.
I got a symbol at S, which I hear very clearly in my head. But most people have been very kind about, oh, it's not that bad. I'm like, God bless you, but I know it's pretty bad. Did you get that money I sent?
Yeah. Checks in the mail.
You look
Checks in the mail.
thin. Here's a sandwich. It is one of those things that you think a lot about when you're on the microphone all the time.
Yeah.
I bet but as a singer and as a performer, right, you probably think a lot about your awareness about how you're projecting.
Yes. I mean that, and then like I forget lyrics. All of us do. Like we all.
Oh, sure.
Something I'm really bad about. If you notice, I will never make eye contact with people. Like never hardly.
Oh,
ever
really?
around. I just can't do it.
I've not noticed.
So I always do the 1,000-yard stare over top of people's heads.
Oh, okay.
And they might think that I'm like looking.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
If I, and that's why I shut my eyes a lot, because I forget lyrics. So when I do that, I just keep pushing through the song. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
imagine when people are like this setting, like where there's no music around you and you're just talking. Man, that's why my dreams of being a DJ probably never came through.
Oh, I don't know. I think you're being a little unduly hard on yourself. I totally hear the radio voice, man. I totally get that.
I appreciate that. Every time it comes on, I drop my voice. Every time. You'll see.
What's funny, like just a slight register makes all the difference.
Right.
Repeating arms here on your Tuesday afternoon alternative. I am so happy to have Harold Hensley here in the studio. And we're talking about the new record, Higher Than Lonesome, which comes out on August 13th, care of Magnaphone Records, who I cannot say enough nice things about. Those guys are great.
Absolutely.
Putting out tremendous record after tremendous record. And, of course, you're playing with Buffalo sorry, see, I'm gonna get things. I was doing so well there too,
We
right?
talked about it, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
So now it's in my head, right? But you're playing the Yellow Cab with the Buffalo Wops and the Price Hill Hustle, and so that's going to be a great night of music at Yellow Cab. Check out the Level Up Productions website for more information on tickets. I know that they're available now, so maybe not right now. You should continue to listen to Harold, but when Harold is done, then maybe you jump to the computer. You can still listen to me. It's okay. But jump to the computer and get those tickets now. Those are going to be a hot commodity.
You can multitask and do it. Yeah.
I love it.
Several things at once. Yeah.
So I know we've talked a lot about the approach in your different projects and things like that. I'm curious what you see the other guys in the Repeating Arms. What, from your perspective, right? What are they bringing in that elevates the band? Because what's interesting to me is how the band itself, it's one of those kind of philosophical things, right? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yes. I couldn't agree with that more. It seemed early on, like almost a decade ago, like it seemed like we weren't, we hadn't found our direction or whatever, and like now, I think that we can see it off in the distance, and we're trying to get there. Like the writing, like we're already working on the next, the next record, like writing wise. We haven't played any of those songs out or anything, but Max and I do. Well, yeah, I mean we've done most of the writing. Like sometimes he'll have a banjo lick, and I'll write the guitar part around it. I write, I would say 99.9% of the lyrics. Like I usually take it and come back, like I'll have like the structure, but like when Spurt comes in, like on arrangements, we can write little ditties all day, but as far as having an arrangement that's exciting and makes you want to hear more, and it's kind of like a story within the song. Like sometimes the arrangements that these guys come up with, and he and John just, like on the Glow he played earlier, that's one of my favorite tracks on the record, just the way that the mandolin and the fiddle dance together, it's like a tango that they're doing. And that's, I mean, I could never, ever, like those notes like that they do, and then, having Rob on board too, like he is just such a tasteful bass player. Like, it's real easy for an upright player to just, like, well, they call it something that I can't say on the radio, like eat, Yeah. To do that, it's real easy to do that, and it sounds great. But he hits these notes and can slide into things that just, make it so much more interesting for me. It's kind of like Cassie and I are the breakfast Voltron, but this is kind of like the Newgrass Voltron. Like we just, when we go in there and start arranging these songs, like they have ideas that, like on Falls Like Rain a second ago, like the end of that was never like that. We had a whole other part, and Spurt was able to say, let's not make it complicated. Let's do something simple that packs a punch, and that arrangement is, I love it. I love that arrangement.